Okay, with that, I'm delighted to introduce our speaker today, Lorraine Penner with Harbor402. Lorraine, thank you for your patience in getting into the meeting today. That's always appreciated. And I'm going to turn it over to you. Thank you for agreeing to be our speaker today.
Oh, thank you, Steve. This is exciting. My name is Lorraine. I actually do know Andrew. We used to work together many years ago, so long time ago. But anyway, I am not a Nebraska native. I actually am from California, but I moved to Nebraska in '99. And so I have been here longer than California now. So I do consider myself a Nebraskan. But yeah, I just kind of Harbor402 and what it's about. Last year in 2019, I married my husband, Jeffrey, and he started Harbor402 in 2017. He had been working for a nonprofit as a systems administrator since 2011, 2012, and he found that many nonprofits need the same type of services. And so he basically started Harbor402 as like an off hours little part-time business, helping other nonprofits, and we love our nonprofits. But when I jumped in 2019 when we got married, I have some history of web design and just kind of web stuff as well. And so I jumped in and wanted to kind of bring a different aspect to that. But I also had the tendency, I'm a worker bee, and so I had the tendency of having 2 to 3 to 4 jobs at a time. And so I never had my own personal time to work on my passions of building up a web design business. And so actually, January 31st of this year, 2020, I had finished my resignation. I gave a 4-month resignation to where I was. I was there for 6 years, and I loved my boss and I loved the company. And so I just gave an extended resignation to jumpstart, going on my own 2 feet and cutting my teeth in the entrepreneurial world. And then, a month later, a month and a half later, COVID struck. And so not really great timing to kind of jump in on your own. But thankfully, anything that I brought in would just be extra because my husband has an awesome job. And so it was a good opportunity, I think, for me to just kind of build things up, but then also at the same time to get creative, because a lot of people know and a lot of people have websites, and they don't necessarily, after COVID struck especially, they're not interested in a redesign if their website was very old or outdated. They might know they need one, but they're not necessarily ready to jump the gun quite yet and getting one. And so I just had to get creative with the time that I had since March. And in that, I actually did start a couple pet projects. And so one of them, I'm not sure if any of you know, is Support LNK. It's basically, I am supporting other Lincoln business owners and entrepreneurs, and doing a podcast with them. So I'm actually interviewing them on the podcast and then releasing it for everybody to hear so that they can kind of get to know their neighbors, get to know the people behind the businesses that they visit every day, or if there's anything that they're looking for, then they can listen to these interviews and see who these people are and decide if they want to get the services from them. I actually did just interview Janine. She, her episode is going to be published tomorrow, I believe. And so she was a delight to talk to and get to know a little better. So that's one of the things that I've kind of done in this time when building websites is a little bit on hold. Another thing I found, especially not only with COVID, but before even, a lot of people, when I was prospecting, if they needed websites and what they were interested in, a lot of them are starting new businesses, but they don't really have the funding to get something like a large or extravagant, wonderful website started. And so then I just had to get creative with that as well, and thinking, how can I serve these people who know they need a website and want to have one, but they can't necessarily afford it. And so another project that I have that's going to be launched later this month is Learn It Yourself Mentor. And so basically, I will be teaching people how to build their own websites for a fraction, because they'll be learning it themselves, really, and I'll be mentoring them, teaching them while they're doing it for any questions that they need. And so, so that's an option if you just need more of a bare bones rather than all bells and whistles of a website to get you started, and then you can grow from there and build upon it. That's another thing that I have been working on with my time. And so those two things, and besides website, Harbor402 still helps the nonprofits, of course, with any of their technological needs. We also offer other services, and so like lead generation. If any business owners need additional leads, we do that. Reputation services. Let's see, helping establish and optimize their Google My Business, because that's another thing I wanted to point out. A lot of businesses don't realize how important that is. Like all the online search that's happening, and it's even more now with COVID and people not necessarily going out to businesses a lot and asking these questions. They're researching them online, and if 90%, 99% of all online searches are through Google. The only other major one right now, I think, is Bing, but not many people use that. And if you're not optimizing your Google My Business profile, then that's just a lot of business lost, because that helps in ranking along with SEO. And it's just something really simple, really easy, and very little time commitment to get that going. And so everybody be looking out for that. And then the reputation as well, with your Google reviews or your Facebook reviews or any other kind of reviews. A lot of people, they think that I can buy this advertising, or I can buy, commercials or billboards or whatever else it is that you're spending on advertising. But that really just, instead of paying for that, people see it, hear it, and then call you. They see it, hear it, and then check you out online. And so if you have 0 reviews, or if you have not so good reviews, even though you paid for all that stuff, they might be going to a competitor. And so just keeping an eye on those two things. If a business maybe doesn't have the opportunity right now to invest in a new website or a redesigned website, then I would definitely recommend everybody to think about those two things as well and consider that. And there's ways you can do that, take care of it on your own, of course. You can do a lot of that stuff manually, but if you don't have the time, or if you don't have the capacity, then definitely would be happy to help any business owners with that. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk about those services that we offer, and the two down the pipe, the Support LNK and Learn It Yourself Mentor as well. And so I don't know if anybody has any questions that I can help them with. I'm not quite used to being interviewed myself. I'm used to doing the interviewing. So it's got me a little for a loop.
Lorraine, how have you had to adapt your business during these COVID times? What have you learned in the last few months from a business standpoint that might help other people? And then also, as in the same vein, what is the most important lesson you can pass along to other small business owners?
Yeah, great question. I would say to definitely thinking out of the box. Everybody's kind of handed the same thing. It's your decision and your choice on how to deal with it. If you're just going to take it and quit or slow down, or if you're going to get creative and think of other ways that you could still be giving value to people, or still giving impact in one way or another. And it might not be the way you want to. It might not be, money making at that time. It could be just investing. And so definitely that. But then also, don't be afraid to take action when you're not ready. And so imperfect action, I think, is really, really one of the most things that you should be doing right now. When everything, like a lot of people are kind of running for the hills, but even if you're new at something, taking imperfect action and go and just doing, rather than thinking or considering and waiting. And so I think those two things.
I like that phrase, imperfect action. I can remember when my mother was driving and she'd get behind a slow driver, she would say, "Come on, do something, even if it's wrong." And I think you're right. I think sometimes we wait too long to take action, and we're better off taking action, even if it's not the perfect one. So good advice.
Lorraine,
Questions?
I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Lorraine, I think, first of all, thank you. And secondly, I think you did very well.
Thank you.
And not to take everybody else's time up, I put my contact info in the chat. I would like to talk to you about what you do, and maybe how you could help us, or not help
Sure.
you. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Other questions for Lorraine? Come on, I know some of you folks have questions.
Lorraine, can you explain a little bit more about Harbor 402 and how you guys serve your clients?
Yeah, Harbor 402. Let's see, we've got most of our clients are nonprofit. Like I said, I think I said about 80 to 90% are nonprofits. And so we help them with their Salesforce needs. Primarily, we find that most nonprofits that we've been working with anyway have worked out of Salesforce, maybe HubSpot, maybe both. And so helping them if they, let's say they have a bookkeeper who's doing a lot of stuff manually, we can build donation and payment integrations that help streamline that. So it takes all the manual, nearly all the manual out. And so, so that's one thing. Any other data or CRM integrations or just cleanup. Custom programming and development if needed. And so a lot of that, even just simple things like G Suite, setting up their email, migrating their email if they go from a free email like gmail.com to their domain specified email, getting everything migrated, everything set up, and then also connecting their DNS and domain everything. And so there's kind of across the board pretty much anything that anything that a nonprofit would need, we can, technical wise, we can help with that. And then, like I said, also since January, February, I've opened it up to small business as well, with the other, like the digital marketing stuff. And so the lead generation, reputation, Google My Business, also helping with the G Suite and DNS. And so, yeah, pretty much web-based side or nonprofit-based side.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Lorraine, can you give us any examples of a small business or a nonprofit, for that matter, that pivoted during these COVID times and adapted and maybe to a digital delivery option that was beneficial to them? There's lots of examples out there, but do you have any specific?
Oh, let's see. The one fresh on my mind, because I just interviewed her earlier this week, was Janine and how she had the
Are you talking about
online
Janine Bryant?
Bryant, yes,
Yes, with
and how
Changing
she had
Spaces. Yes.
she had the estate auctions going to online, and she had to make that decision really quick. Thankfully, her husband was a computer programmer, so he was able to help her with that. Let's see. Otherwise, put me on the spot. Let me think.
Well, that is a very good example. That's one that I would offer up too.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to think of who all I've interviewed.
Just out of curiosity, as a related note, since you work with nonprofits a lot, how badly have they been impacted by COVID? Has their giving, have their
Mhm.
donations dropped?
Yeah.
How has it impacted that world?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there was one nonprofit that wasn't necessarily affected as much as all the others, but most of them, their donations have extremely, extremely declined. And that's just, it also goes to the people who are donating. They maybe not want to quit or drop their donations or pause them, but they're being affected too because their jobs are, they're not able to work their jobs or this or that or whatever. And so it's kind of a journey, I guess. And so one thing happens and it kind of explodes things for everything else. But yes, many nonprofits that we've worked for have like frozen their expenses as far as technology. And so we haven't necessarily had to be helping many of them with their stuff, even though everything, like all of their finances, all of their integrations, all of their data, it's all still running. But if they have any issues with it, they don't necessarily have the resources right now to get assistance with it. And so then that could lead to trouble, down the road as well. If something happens too big that they're unable to maybe continue working at what they need to do, then they have to make a decision. But at that point, it might take a little more time than if it would have been handled at the beginning.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? If not, Lorraine, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you for your patience through our technical difficulties. And
Yeah.
thank you everyone in the audience for your patience as well. Next week, we will make sure that that doesn't happen and that you all get the correct link the first time. Again, join us next week for Tristan Chambers with Spark Esports. Really an exciting new industry that's blowing up around the world. So learn about that. Coffee mug contest time. Lorraine, it's our tradition for everybody to hoist their mugs, and you get to pick the winner of a Focus Suite coffee mug. So
Okay.
everybody hoist those mugs up where Lorraine can see them, and she will pick a winner. And Kat, you're ineligible, so nice try though.
We'll go with Quentin's Husker mug.
All right, yeah, that was pretty sharp to go with his Sandhills Ranch
Sweet.
there. So Quentin, congratulations, you have won a Perk Up Thursday coffee mug. Thank you everybody for joining us. As a reminder, all of our videos, our coffee speakers, we take video. They're out on our YouTube channel. So if you missed anything or want to rewatch today's presentation, it will be out there later today probably. And you can see past videos too. So follow us on Twitter. We post top fives all the time, top 5 videos of 2020, top 5 videos ever, that sort of thing. So you can go back and see some of our most popular coffee speakers. So thank you for attending today, and I hope you will join us next week.
Thank you.